John Coyle, I'd like to support the motion and to say that I've always been fascinated by forests. They have a huge attraction, and one thing they do as well as providing timber is they have been a very important source of recreation for people in this country. And I'd like to in particular compliment the work done over the last 15 years by Cuív in using the forest in a multifaceted way and ensuring that they've been available for a whole lot of leisure purposes. Now, I think it's important that we recognise that forestry cover is important and broadleaf is important. But we also mustn't forget the forestry industry and their requirements. And the forest, the mill companies, etc., are providing employment in parts of the country that don't have huge other sources of employment. I know in my own little area we have 200 jobs directly associated with timber milling. And a lot of towns would like to have that number of jobs. This is a very, very small community. And it certainly is shown in the schools, in the parish, in the football teams, etc. You can see the difference it has made when you look at the demographics compared to other equivalent areas. So it is important that we ensure in the future that we can keep supplying these mills, but that we can also help something they've done in the last 15, 20 years, that they keep going up the food chain in terms of market quality and so on, so they realise full value for the product that they're providing. Now, in the few short minutes, I'd just like to make a few points. I would like to agree with Deputy McConalogue that it's absolutely vital that what I call incidental natural forestry, particularly hazel and sally, that you get growing on a lot of farms now, and in areas of poor land, this is quite common. The minute it grows, you know what happens? They take away the BPS on that land, and they take away the ANC. So we're all the time talking about sequestration, and natural forestry will sequester carbon just as much as planted forestry done on a scheme with a grant and all the rest. And all we're asking is, where there is natural forestry growing in, and if you look, sit in my area and you look across the valleys, you can see a lot of natural forestry, a lot of good trees that have grown up in the last 20, 30 years. But you know what? They're penalised for allowing that to happen. You actually take the money away from them. That issue needs to be tackled. The second one, and I think that this goes to the heart of the leitrim problem, I believe that we've become too reliant on large corporates for everything, and that this lends itself to farmer participation, to keeping the land in the farmer's ownership and in the farmer's control. And I believe that the forestry grants and premia should be front-loaded. In other words, they should be larger and higher for the farmer planter than they are for the big corporate coming in and doing it. Because when the farmer is doing it, he's much more likely to be sensitive to other local needs. He's much less likely to be buying up acre after acre after acre and causing huge disruption in the community. And you're also keeping the money local. And I think the Green Party would resonate with this, because they're always saying think global and think local. And I think it's important that we look at this ownership model and say, which do we really want to happen? Do we want it owned locally and a dispersed and diffused ownership, or do we want to concentrate, as has happened in so many other industries, all the ownership in a few hands?